Drummer here, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the Game Awards 2024. The show happened last night, and it was about 3 hours long, and it was just jam-packed with game announcements, awards, musical acts, little fun bits, and we're going to be doing my review, talking about it, just giving you my overall thoughts, going over a bunch of my favorite announcements and just moments of the show. There are a lot of them, and for one main reason, and that is because I genuinely think this show was incredible. This show was just absolutely everything I thought it was going to be, because let me just say, you can go on my Twitter, if you knew me in person, I had this feeling in my bones that this was going to be a 10 out of 10 show. This was going to be a show for the ages. This is going to be one where you remember. We're going to look back at this show 5 years down the line and be like, oh yeah, that was a show where this game was announced. That was a show where this happened. And this show absolutely delivered on it. It was absolutely fantastic. There are more massive reveals than I think any other Game Awards has had. And I think there's just a lot of great things to be excited for, not just in terms of game announcements, but in terms of awards, in terms of the industry, in terms of just entertainment. This show really delivered. But if you guys love video games, consider subscribing, sharing with your friends. Really do appreciate all the support you guys give me, especially the support here on this video right now. We're going to be talking about the Game Awards. Let me know in the comments what were some of your favorite moments. But let's get into the Game Awards 2024. Now, like I just said, I do think this show was a 10 out of 10. I genuinely, from start to finish, I have a reaction out on the channel right now. You can go watch that. But I reacted to with our two podcast co-hosts that usually come on every other week or whatnot. And it was just a blast, man. We all had a great time. We were all super interested in just loving a lot of the games that they were showing. We were loving the awards, stuff like that. Unfortunately, for one of them, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth did not win more awards, which he was really hoping for. For me, the two games I wanted to win something did, that being Neva and Black Myth Wukong, and Prince of Persia, actually. So, I'm very happy about that. Dragon Age didn't get nominated for anything, so sad times, but it is what it is. But no, the Game Awards was just really, really great from start to finish. The pacing I thought was really great outside of, there was this, honestly, maybe this 45-minute period where it was kind of just really slow. There was nothing really happening. I think the only thing that happened was Mafia the Old Country got its release window. That was really the only thing that happened during that weird window. And Stage Fright, all throwing that one, give it credit where credit's due. But for the most part, there was a period of time where it was okay, it's definitely taking quite a backseat here, but they closed the show right. They closed the show in the best possible way, and it just made up for all of that. And that, not even talking about the first half. The first half of the show, genuinely, I think is the best hour and a half of any game show ever. It was just absolutely insane. Now, I know what some of you are going to be asking, and I know one of my friends is going to bring this up a couple times, is what show did I like better, the Xbox Game Showcase 2024 or the Game Awards 2024? And you know what? I ain't gonna answer that, because honestly, it really don't matter. Both shows, I think, were 10 out of 10s. Both shows gave me so many games I was excited for, and both shows delivered just an outstanding moment in gaming, and I think that needs to be celebrated, and credit where credit is due. So, I think there are different ways you could pick that apart, but for me, I just really, really enjoyed both of them. Some of my favorite moments outside of game announcements, we're just going to save that for the last thing. Some of my favorite moments, number one, Joseph Fares and Sam Lake are just two of the industry's greatest personalities and just greatest creators and directors. Man, they are awesome. Sam Lake is personally my GOAT. I love Alan Wake 2. And I just love Remedy. They're one of my favorite studios. And he is just so funny. He's so creative. And he just always finds a way to entertain you and just give you something you've never seen before. And he had a really, really funny bit. And then Joseph Fares coming out and just talking his talk, man. The man is just absolutely hilarious and a legend. And not to mention, he makes amazing games as well. Hazelight is such a studio, and we saw that once again tonight, which I can't wait to talk about that. Something else I actually really enjoyed is the Game Changer Award. This is something that Jeff introduced this year, which is basically like an industry icon or like feature class kind of award, where it just recognizes a person in the industry who is making a difference. And I really enjoyed this because, number one, the person that they gave the award to, I can't remember his name, unfortunately, so I do apologize. Amir Satvat. Apologize if I pronounced that incorrectly, but this dude is awesome. They basically explained how he's helped so many people find jobs in the gaming industry, especially when this year has been really, really hard for layoffs. And I think that's also something else the show did a really, really great job of doing, is just spreading great awareness and giving good messaging and lessons. I think they did a really, really great job of that. But no, I really loved the Game Changer Award. He gave an amazing speech, so I have to give him props for that. Same thing with the Game of the Year Award. The Baldur's Gate 3 director, he was the one who presented the award, and he gave an awesome speech beforehand, basically just explaining what we should be making games for, why we are making games, and he just gave a lot of great reasons for that. There's also some other great moments, like in terms of the musical performance. I really liked the Arcane performance and the Civilization performance. I'm not even a Civilization fan, but I thought they did an amazing job with that song. It was a banger performance. And then I really enjoyed the Muppets, like the little Muppets, whatever that they had. I actually thought they were pretty funny this time around. Like, they were actually cracking a lot of jokes where I was like, oh my gosh, they're literally roasting Jeff, and they're roasting the Game Awards at the Game Awards. This is actually incredible. So I really enjoyed that. And then in terms of awards, there really wasn't any award where I was kind of upset that something won. I think everything was well-deserved. I think all of them were the right choice. Well, the right choice is definitely up to opinion, but, like, I don't think there was any choice that I was like, really, like, it went to that. So I have to give her credit. Hellblade 2 got a couple awards. Final Fantasy won the award that it absolutely should have won with OST. Metaphor won quite a bit with our RPG and narrative. Astrobot won almost everything it was in, I think, actually, including Game of the Year. Well deserved. Astrobot is such an awesome game. Congratulations to you. And then Prince of Persia won something. Black Myth Wukong won something. And I think, Neva won something. Balatro won stuff. There really was a win for everything, except there was one game that did not get a single win, which I was really upset about because I think it did deserve something. It should have won audio design, I think, and that's Silent Hill 2. I'm really upset that game didn't get any light, but we all know how great of a game that is, so they don't need an award for that to be true. And I think that goes for every game and just every year. This is just awards. It's just for fun. This doesn't truly mean anything to us as players. It definitely means something to these creators. I'm not going to downplay that one bit, but it's not the end of the world for any of us. But no, I thought the show, in terms of awards and just moments and just the things that they did, were really, really fun. Also, Harrison Ford coming out with Troy Baker and Todd Howard. What an iconic moment, man. Absolutely awesome thing that happened there. But let's get talk about the thing that everybody's talking about. Let's get talk about the thing that you probably clicked on this video for. The game announcements. Oh my gosh. What did they put in Jeff Keighley's breakfast at the beginning of the year to make him go, you know what? This year's Game Awards is going to be goated. Oh my goodness. So, when the show ended, I was like, dude, this is easily the best Game Awards of all time. And I stand by that 100%. I can't think of another Game Awards that has topped the amount and huge announcements that happened at this show. But there was definitely a little piece of me that was like, It's a 10 out of 10 in terms of game announcements, but I feel like because of that 45-minute period slow time, I felt like I couldn't even give it a 10 out of 10 because there is definitely like a weak part of it. But at the end of the day, every Game Awards is going to have that, and every show is going to have something like that. And for me, you almost can't get better than this. I don't think there will ever be another show that's able to top this. And it definitely came to realization this morning when I was prepping up doing all these videos. I have a ton of videos coming out, by the way, talking about all these games individually. And I just realized how many games there are and how many games I'm excited for and just how great this show was. And it's easily a 10 out of 10 for me. No debate. No one can really change my mind. It was just absolutely fantastic. And yeah, this show just absolutely cooked because we're about to go through some of these games. And when you realize not even just the games and what they looked like, if you just take the studios that showed a game here, it might be the most stacked lineup you have ever seen in a video game event ever. We're going to start with the game studio that has won Game of the Year multiple times and is considered currently the best studio in the game, and that is From Software. They dropped Elden Ring Night Rain. This is a completely new Elden Ring game. Not even 2 years? It'll release 3 years after Elden Ring. 1 year after Elden Ring's DLC, which dropped this year. They released another Elden Ring game called Night Rain, and this time, this game looks special. This game looks incredible. It is a co-op multiplayer Souls game, which basically they have been confirming, and through a bunch of details I've been seeing, which we're going to get into that in my separate videos about all these games. We're going to go in depth, talk about things, features, gameplay, stuff like that. It's going to be a blast. This is a game where they are combining multiple Souls games into one. You see combat taking Sekiro elements with the traversal, wall climbing, grappling hook. The pairing that you saw in the trailer, that is Sekiro pairing. You gotta be kidding me. They got bosses from Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. I saw that, and I've read into that, and that is actually a fact. There are so many bosses that you see in that trailer that are from the Dark Souls games. They are taking things from all the Souls games, putting Elden Ring paint on it, and giving it co-op, and boom. 2025, From Software is dropping another game. Elden Ring Night Rain. Oh my gosh. Like, see, this is why I say so many times, details are so important. Details are so important. Information is so important. When you just get a CG trailer, that is risky because sometimes it cannot hit. First impressions are so high. Sometimes it could lower people's expectations. Sometimes it could give a bad rap on something in terms of its first impressions. But when you look into the details and when you read some of the features and you realize what kind of game this actually is, it gets you so much more hype. Because I'm not going to lie, I was ecstatic. I was over the roof about this game when it was announced. I was so hyped because, oh my gosh, From Software, Elden Ring, things I love, dropping another game. But was it one of my favorite announcements? Was it one of my top anticipated games? No. But now that I know what this game actually is, combining different Souls games elements, oh man, you gotta be kidding me. I'm so ready for Elden Ring Night Rain. And you know what's crazy? That followed up another studio that people consider one of the best in the entire industry, CD Projekt Red, the developers behind the Witcher series and Cyberpunk 2077. They announced The Witcher 4. Ladies and gentlemen, it is here. It is time. There's no like tagline or anything. It's just The Witcher 4. You are playing as Ciri, and no, not Apple and iPhone Siri. Ciri from The Witcher, the white-haired lady. And this trailer really just shined. It really just did. And I know I just said stuff about CG trailers. Here's what I'll say about CG trailers. Even though it's still risky, and while I do wish we got gameplay or just something a little bit more, we know what The Witcher is. We don't need to see gameplay to know what kind of game this is. We definitely need to see gameplay to see what we're in for and how good this game could possibly be. but we don't need gameplay to understand what the heck we're watching. We know what we're watching. We're watching The Witcher. We're watching CD Projekt Red at their best, and this trailer absolutely cooked. The character, the storytelling, the environments, the enemies, just the action, over the top, awesomeness, coolness, intrigueness. Like, I don't even know if the words I'm saying are real. This game looked awesome, and I can't wait. And I'm not even the biggest Witcher fan. I actually am one of those people who have not really been able to get into The Witcher 3. Every time I try playing it, it just doesn't hook me. Even with that in mind, I am so excited for this. I'm so excited for this because now that gives me a reason to try Witcher 3 again and to just be excited to go into this franchise that I know is beloved and has such a reputation. So there we go. We have From Software and CD Projekt Red. What else happened? Well, Naughty Dog, the studio behind Uncharted, Crash Bandicoot, The Last of Us, Jak and Daxter, they revealed their next game, and it is an entirely new franchise called Intergalactic. And this game is called Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, I think is how you pronounce it. This trailer looked incredible as well. Now, this is one where it was CG, but they showed a little glimpse of what gameplay could possibly look like at the end. Oh, man, I'm so excited for this game. You guys know Uncharted is my favorite franchise of all time. Crash Bandicoot is one of my favorite platformers of all time. I think Last of Us Part 1 is a masterpiece. I genuinely love Naughty Dog. They're one of my top studios. And the fact that we are getting a sci-fi game. This is in space. You are playing a space bounty hunter. This game is going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see more, because that is the one thing I'll say about this game. This is the one game where I'm like, I really wish they showed more. Because even though I'm already sold, I think it's in my top 5 most anticipated games. This is one where for definitely the bigger audience, the mass audience, you need a little bit more to try and sell it, especially since it is a new IP. It looked like they were going for more of an action, like hack and slash type thing, because she like pulled out like a energy sword and started running at this giant robot and like jumped up and. Oh man, it looked awesome. There was like a bunch of brand deals like Porsche, Adidas, and Sony inside the trailer. The music was great. The coloring is great. Everything is just so awesome. I'm super duper excited for that. So there you go. Naughty Dog, From Software, and CD Projekt Red. Just when you thought things couldn't get more insane, who else showed up? Oh, the creator of Shadow of the Colossus. No biggie. Shadow of the Colossus is a beloved classic. People think that game is just absolutely incredible. I think the game is amazing as well. And yeah, he showed off a little teaser for what he's working on, which basically, to sum it up, looks like Shadow of the Colossus with mechs. It looks sci-fi instead of fantasy. I'm all for it. I'm here. I'm ready. I can't wait to see more. This one's definitely a ways away, but I'm super duper excited. Who else showed up? Oh, Hazelight. We talked about that earlier. The Game of the Year winner in 2021 with It Takes Two showed off their next game called Split Fiction, where you and a friend or a partner, whoever you want to play with, it's a 2-player game where one side of the screen is one person, the other side of the screen is another person. It's a split screen game, but each of you play your own thing. You're not like playing in the same scene. Somebody has to go over there and click a button. Somebody has to. It makes sense when you see what kind of game this actually is, or if you've seen Hazelight's previous games, you know exactly what this is. Split Fiction looks off the chain, and according to Jeff Ferris, and I completely agree with him, or Joseph Ferris, I apologize. This looks like some next level stuff, bro. This looks like some next level stuff. They mess stuff up without messing it up. Oh man, this game looks incredible. The visuals look great. Basically, it's a combination between fantasy and sci-fi. It's basically about 2 writers, one sci-fi author and one fantasy author, and their minds and their stories collide, and they each have to play in their own stories or whatnot. I can't wait to go into this game more in depthly, but there's things like 2D, and there's things like shooting tanks, flying ships. There's so many different things in this game, and it looks awesome. I'm sure this will be another Game of the Year contender when it comes out in 3 months. In 3 months, ladies and gentlemen, this game is coming out. Oh, we are eating today. Who else showed up? Oh, just the creator of Fallout New Vegas, Obsidian Entertainment, debatably one of Xbox's best studios. Randomly, out of nowhere, out of the absolute blue, Obsidian and Xbox decided to show up and just give us Outer Worlds 2. We haven't seen this game or heard anything about this game in 4 years. Maybe 3 years. I might be overestimating. I think it's like 3.5 years. It was summer of 2021. This game looks awesome. This game is exactly what I want from Obsidian. This game is exactly what I want from Xbox. This looks like a really, really fun RPG. Whereas Avowed, I think Avowed's going to be great, and I'm excited for Avowed. It definitely took a while to get excited for it. It definitely took a while for, I feel like, the hype to start growing and for it to gain confidence in a lot of players. Where this one, no, we're locked in to day one. This game is exactly what I need it to be. It looks just like Outer Worlds 1, but so much better. The trailer was hilarious. It showed so many great things. This is what we want from Xbox. This is what we want from Obsidian. Super duper hype. I just love how randomly that they showed up. Like I said, it's been 3.5 years. Absolutely nothing. Pure silence. They have Doom on the horizon. They have Fable on the horizon. They have South of Midnight on the horizon. They have the next year's Call of Duty on the horizon. They have so many things on the horizon. And they just decided, you know what? We're not going to show any of that. We're going to show something that completely in our back pocket that you almost kind of forgot about. Outer Worlds 2. And guess what? It's releasing next year as well. Xbox is going to have an amazing 2025. We're going to talk about that in the video as well. Absolutely incredible stuff from Xbox and Obsidian. Outer Worlds 2 is looking absolutely, oh man, just fantastic. The next game we are going to talk about is Capcom. I know Capcom isn't a game. They are a publisher. In fact, the GOATs, in my opinion. Capcom is just so goated. They are easily my favorite publisher right now. They are they are easily, I think, the best publisher right now. If we're talking like how many years they've been great. They revealed 2 brand new games, 2 revivals of franchises. These are franchises that we haven't seen in what, like 20 years, maybe. I know Onimusha, which is one we're going to talk about. It has been 20 years. I don't know when Okami originally came out, but we're getting Okami 2, or the Okami sequel. That's literally just the title of it, Okami sequel. And we're getting Onimusha, The Way of the Sword, or just Way of the Sword. So if you don't know what Okami is, it is basically like a 3D platformer RPG, I think RPG, where you play as a dog. I haven't played the game, so I don't know for sure. Just based off what I've seen, that's what I think it is. But you play as this dog that has like magical fire powers and just other powers, elemental powers. If you played Marvel vs. Capcom, you know what this dog is, because this dog is always like super fun in that game. And then Onimusha is this basically like Capcom's attempt at like a Souls game, but without the difficulty. It's just a action RPG where you play as this like samurai dude. And this is a beloved franchise, and this is one where me and Austin, in a video or a podcast or something a while back, we were like just doing a little bit of research on some of Capcom's past stuff, and we stumbled across Onimusha, and we were like, man, we've heard so much about this franchise, but we have no idea what it is. So we looked into it and we started watching gameplay. We're like, I could see where like back in the day this was like a really, really cool game, but like it definitely looks dated now. Like it'd be really cool to see like what a modern take on this game will look like, but I just don't think we hear enough about it to ever see it. Hush my mouth and call me Susie. Please don't do that. This game is a top 10 for me. I've come to a decision. Last night I was trying to like rearrange what my top anticipated games look like. We're gonna have a video on that as well. And I was just like, I don't know where to put a lot of these games. I knew Intergalactic was a top 10, and I was like, Onimusha, man, I feel like that's gonna be one of those games for me where it's just like over time it just ends up becoming like one of my most anticipated ever. It's already happening. It's already happening. This morning, I literally woke up, and the first thing I did, I rewatched the Onimusha trailer, and I went to my Topsters list, and I just moved it up a little bit. And now it's in my top 10. This game is exactly what I wanted. It looks like Capcom with its modern technology and modern quality, bringing back a franchise that I think looks so cool that I'm super down to get into, and it's speaking my name. Like Ghost of Tsushima mixed with Sekiro, mixed with God of War, whatever you want to mix it with, it looks dope. This game is going to be awesome. Unfortunately, I don't really have much to say on Okami. I just know it's a beloved series. This was actually the game that they kind of jokingly closed the show with. Jeff was like, all right, and here's our final announcement, and they showed Okami. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. That's a really weird finale game, though. Like, I get there's going to be a lot of excitement for it, and I'm definitely excited for it, too. But do you really close the show with Okami? They ended up then doing actually, we do have one more thing, and that was the Naughty Dog Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. But just absolutely incredible. There are so many more things we can go over, and we are going to, but just know that there was a lot of smaller things as well that I'm just going to skip over, like Borderlands 4. I think that is looking really, really solid. I'm not going to lie, when I initially watched it, I was like, okay, it's not as, like, different as I thought it was going to, or it's not, like, blowing me away or anything. And while I still stand on the fact that it's not blowing me away, I actually am loving what I'm seeing. Like, I think it does look a lot better than, like, Borderlands 3, and I think it does look really fun. A lot of things, like, that's also a trailer I've been rewatching a couple times, and the more times I watch it, the more I'm like, yeah, I think I'm actually genuinely excited for this. I think Borderlands 4 looks solid. And same thing with Mafia: The Old Country. I knew we were getting a great game when it comes to Mafia. Mafia is just a great franchise in terms of story and narrative, but this trailer really has sold me on it because it's going cinematic, it's going serious, it's going just super different, and I'm just so invested in the story and just what we're going to be getting out of this cinematic experience, as well as some information that I've come across that we're going to be talking about in its own separate video. For the first time in the Mafia series, they are not going open world. Instead, it is a linear narrative game because they want it to be more focused. I think that is a W, because the worst part about the Mafia games is its open world. They're cooking. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit. Something else I think was awesome, Clive being in Tekken 8. Clive from Final Fantasy 16, the main character, is joining Tekken 8 as a guest character. That was absolutely awesome. Huge dream for Austin. Ninja Gaiden did get a little, like, side-scroller announcement in the pre-show. I thought that was pretty fire. There was a Slay the Spire 2 trailer. There was a new Pac-Man game that mixes, like, horror with Metroidvania. It's called Shadow Labyrinth. Very interested in that one. Slow Clap, the studio behind Sifu, announced a soccer game called Rematch. Honestly, the more I've watched it, I can kind of see how it could be fun. I'm not really excited for it, but I could definitely see how it's big. And then there is one more that I think I want to just let you know, like, hey, you know, did this happen? Oh, yes. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is headed to PC. Now, we're not done yet. There's a couple more things that I would like to talk about. Number one, we already talked about Capcom, my goats. Sega also lit the world on fire last night. They announced 3 games. One of them, I'm not really too crazy on, because, I mean, there's definitely going to be an audience for it, but it's not me, and that is Sonic Racing Crossworld. It's basically the Mario Kart of Sonic. They announced their next game. The game always sells well, and it's really beloved from a lot of people, so big W there. Where the whole night, I feel like this is really the point in the show where my whole perspective on what we were experiencing completely flipped. Because I genuinely have been thinking about this. This is my biggest surprise of the entire night. Ryu Ga Gotoku, the studio behind Yakuza and the Like a Dragon games, their logo popped up. And instantly we all thought, oh my gosh, they are back again. They just dropped a game this year, and they're already showing the trailer for their next Yakuza game. That is where we're wrong. They're not showing a trailer for their next Yakuza game. Out of nowhere, they announced Ryuga Gotoku, the studio that never misses. They have not put out one bad game, I think, ever. They announced they are working on a Virtua Fighter game. Virtua Fighter is back. It is back. I absolutely love Virtua Fighter. My favorite fighting games have always been Mortal Kombat, Injustice, Tekken, and Virtua Fighter. Street Fighter, I've always really enjoyed. It's never been one of my favorites. Virtua Fighter, though, this is one I played on the PS3. This is one I played on PS2. I love Virtua Fighter, man. And it is back. And I am so confident that Ryuga Gotoku is going to knock this out the park. Because one part I love about Ryuga Gotoku is the way they do combat. When you're playing Judgment, specifically the Judgment games, you feel like you're playing a 3D fighting game sometimes. If they could just translate that into Virtua Fighter, oh, we are cooking. Oh, we are cooking on all cylinders. But wait, that's not all they announced. Directly after, literally immediately after, Ryuga Gotoku announced another game. This studio is otherworldly. This studio is not real. They're just a machine. They're not even real people. I swear, what is going on? They announced Project Sentry. Now, this game is definitely a ways away, and it's definitely not what we expected. It's an open world JRPG where it's like 1950 Japan or something like that. It looks like Yakuza, but like it definitely has a little bit of... I've compared it to Sleeping Dogs. Dude, I really thought they were showing Sleeping Dogs for the longest time. But it definitely looks really cool. I'm definitely interested in that one. That one's where we're going to have to see more about, like, in terms of story, or like what the heck this game truly is. But it looks really fun, and it looks really cool as well. But the fact that Sega dropped 3 games, one of them being Virtua Fighter, and then one of them being another Ryuga Gotoku game, 2 of them being Ryuga Gotoku games, just absolutely insane. And there's one more surprise that I want to talk about that happened at this show, and that is Turok. Turok is back. The dinosaur military shooting game is back. This is a game I've just wishlisted would come back or get a revival for so long, but I've honestly just given up because I just never thought it was going to happen. Once again, hush my mouth and call me Susie, because, ladies and gentlemen, we're living in a world where Turok Origins now exists. What is this show? What is the world we're living in? What happened at the Game Awards to make Jeff just go, holy moly, we need to cook? And, ladies and gentlemen, they absolutely cooked. Some other games were Stage Fright. That was another game I thought looked really cool as well. And then the Crimson Desert, I thought looked really good. It continues to look really good. But I think those are pretty much all, like, the major things. The first Berserker Kazan got a release date as well. So that's also pretty cool. We're going to talk about all these games, or not all of them, but we're going to talk about, like, majority of them. They're going to get their own separate videos. We're going to go in depth, talk about gameplay, details, whatever. I can't wait to do it, because that's what really gets me excited about all this stuff. Just like how I explained with Elden Ring, when you look into the details, when you figure out what the heck these games are, it just sells you on them even more, if you weren't already sold. I can't wait to do my most anticipated games list, because we got a lot of them. But thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Johnny Moore out. Peace.